Ah, America, the land of the free, the home of the brave, and the playground of the absurd. As we dive into another episode of What in the World is Happening Now, let's take a moment to appreciate the latest chapter in the saga of wealth, taxes, and the never-ending political theater that keeps us all entertained, whether we want to be or not. Today we find ourselves at an interesting crossroads, where former Vice President Mike Pence is stepping back into the limelight, urging his fellow Republicans to stand firm against the idea of taxing the top 1% of earners. Because, the woes of millionaires are something that clearly need more attention in these trying times. Pence, who has decided to return to the political stage with all the flair of a Shakespearean actor who once played a pivotal role in a tragic comedy, is rallying the troops against a proposal that dares to suggest the wealthy should contribute a little more to the nation's coffers. This proposal, apparently whispered in hushed tones by White House aides, seeks to raise the tax rate for those making over $1 million to a mere 40%. Just imagine the horror of it. A millionaire having to part with a slightly larger piece of their pie to help offset the cost of eliminating taxes on overtime pay, tipped wages, and retirees' Social Security. How could such an injustice stand? But fear not, for Pence and his merry band of conservative crusaders are here to remind us that Republicans don't raise taxes. They cut them, even if it means cutting their own throats in the process. The American people voted for tax cuts, not tax hikes, proclaims Advancing American Freedom, the advocacy group Pence launched in 2021. And who could argue with that logic? After all, the American people are well known for their love of tax cuts almost as much as they are known for their love of apple pie. Even more ironic is Pence's insistence that the previous tax cuts under Trump, yes, the very same ones that had the economy booming like never before, are the golden ticket to prosperity. Because nothing says financial stability like a tax code that benefits the rich and expects the middle class to pick up the slack. But let's not forget, these are the same cuts that are set to expire this year, leaving us to wonder if this boom was more of a fizzle than a bang. Of course, all of this is happening in the shadow of Pence's own political ambitions, which, much like a souffle, seemed promising until they deflated under the harsh light of reality. His brief 2024 presidential campaign, much like a summer romance, was short-lived and ultimately unfulfilling. Despite his attempts to distance himself from Trump after the infamous January 6th Capitol riot, where his loyalty was questioned and his life threatened, Pence's political star has dimmed considerably. Yet, like a moth to a flame, Pence can't seem to stay away from the bright lights of the political stage. Here he is, once again, shaking hands with Trump at the funeral of former President Jimmy Carter, offering congratulations on winning the 2024 election without endorsing him. It's like watching a soap opera where the plot twists are both predictable and bewildering. And now, dear viewers, it's time for an important message. If you're enjoying this satirical romp through the landscape of American politics, why not subscribe to our channel? Hit that like button if you find irony in Pence's newfound advocacy for the wealthy, and leave us a comment below. Do you think raising taxes on millionaires is a necessary step toward a more equitable society, or is it just another political farce? We want to hear your thoughts. As we navigate this tangled web of political intrigue, one can't help but ponder the deeper questions. For instance, why is it that the people who have the most often do the least to contribute to the greater good? Or perhaps more aptly, why do we keep electing leaders who insist on preserving a status quo that benefits the few at the expense of the many? In the grand tradition of political theater, Pence's latest act seems more like a scene from a farce than a serious policy discussion. The idea that Republicans would adopt any part of Kamala Harris's losing policy platform is laughable, and yet here we are, watching this spectacle unfold with a mixture of disbelief and amusement. So, as we wrap up this episode of What in the World is Happening Now, let's take a moment to reflect on the absurdities of our times. Whether it's Pence's quixotic quest to protect the wealthy from the horrors of a 40% tax rate, or the endless parade of political characters who seem to think they're starring in their own reality TV show, there's no shortage of irony and satire in today's news. Remember to subscribe for more biting commentary and share your thoughts on the latest political antics in the comments below. After all, in a world where satire often feels like reality, your voice is more important than ever.